Okay, welcome to our practice this afternoon. Today, live, it is the solstice, the winter solstice for us over here. And so it's our longest day of darkness, I guess our shortest day overall for the year, which then means we're coming into more light going forward. So we're gonna kind of hold that theme with us today through our practice, letting it be this offering of reflection too over um, what we've held through this year, particularly around the dark and the night and the unknown, or even just that place of rest that the night and the dark offer us. Um, and then that coming through at that time, coming back into morning and light and the day and the spring. Um, but for today and for this practice, allowing ourselves to be in our night, um, in the dark places, whatever all those places might be for us at this time. So, with all of that, let's go ahead and come into our inner world, closing our eyes, finding this darkness that's available to us all the time. Finding our breath always present through with us, whatever the dark or light. Finding the sensations of our body, our weight touching down to the floor, holding us in place. You might even move yourself from side to side, forward and back, a little sway and rocking, and just notice your center of gravity and balance. Maybe that center point like an anchor for you. You might move yourself back into stillness as you've found that place. Maybe you keep a light movement or sway. And then coming back to our breath. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Letting the breath be as full as it wants to be, and as freeing as we can with our exhales. Surrendering into our now, our breath, our dark, our present. And often the concept of dark gets a bad rap in our culture, something to avoid or shine light in or get rid of. We can be uncomfortable with the mystery of darkness, what we can't see, what doesn't feel good, what's uncomfortable. But here in this darkness we create of just tuning out from all of the outer stimuli, we can find a comforting darkness coming inward. Maybe just focusing on the breath. Sometimes our inner world can feel like one we want to avoid, and maybe there's some discomfort there. And so we want to open the eyes and go back to the outer stimuli, the activities, or the things to stay mentally preoccupied with. But what if we can just rest here and just be in the moment? So whatever all might come through our mind, it probably has to do with the future or the past, but not just this very moment, this shape your body is in, this posture, this breath. So what if we can find our solace just in this exact moment, as acutely in this moment as we can go? How close can you get to your breath? All of your awareness is in that breath. Maybe you can imagine a single molecule in the air that is moving into the nose, down through the body, into your low belly as it fills. And back out. We might take our awareness up to our heart space. The dark, the unknown, the grief, scary, sad, all of those things create a lot of activity in the heart. It might race with some of those. It might feel a great ache or sharp pain. It might feel excitement at mystery or change and possibility. We can be with our heart in its many different experiences, physical and emotional. There's just witnessing, noticing what's there. What are the physical sensations there? What's the emotional sensations in this moment? And then we can offer support to our heart. There's a few different physical hand motions we can take to offer support. One is to simply place the hands over the heart in a little X pattern, as if it's a hug right there just for the heart. A sensation of comfort, that physical pressure, the weight of the hands against the chest is soothing, like a hug, like a weighted blanket, activating the parasympathetic nervous system and telling the body on a physical level that it's okay, and that it can relax, that it's being soothed. Another motion we can take is to put all of the fingers together in one point. In both hands, you might do it. So the thumb, all 5 digits on both fingers, or however many you got. You put them all there, and then bring those points, the points of each hand, the fingers, to the heart space. And with this, you might imagine that there's a loving energy being shot out of those fingers. It's this concentrated form of energy going there into the heart. And so I find when I'm in my deepest moments of heart pain, grief, or aching, this is the one for me here. It's the more intense beams of love being sent to that place. So you might experiment with both shapes. See if either feels best to you right now. And then allow yourself to rest with that posture. Maybe it's something else, whatever comes to you, whatever feels supportive and good. Take that shape. We can breathe into our heart spaces, creating a little more space. So if you were to give room for all those feelings to breathe, like the deep, dark night sky, the grandiosity of all of that outer space, that dark place, infinite darkness, you might imagine there's that much room here in the heart, that all that is in there can be held with that infinite space. darkness, there's a sense of patient waiting, all the infinite patient waiting for our heart to be in whatever place it is at this time. No rush, no brilliant light. It can just rest here. And then lastly, I invite you to open the hands and open the arms, maybe more out to the side, as big and wide, or as close in towards the body as feels good to you. And with this posture, it's a posture of receptivity, receiving whatever support we need to receive. Maybe we're opening ourselves up to light, to the future, to darkness, to the unknown. A posture of trust, trusting that as we open ourselves, like a delicate flower at the start of spring, just ready to open its petals a little bit, that we'll receive what we'll need. As we open, it's not to get smushed down, that we're safe here, just however much feels good. And remaining in this posture if you like, or bringing hands to heart center, we'll open our movement practice with 3 ohms. So just however you wish to take that. I'm going to take it with my arms open today. We'll take a breath in all together. Exhale, let it go. Inhale for Om. We'll let that go. Open the eyes. Let's do a few shoulder rolls, slowly inviting movement into our body and rolling our shoulders up and back. You might leave hands down at the side on the knees, or you might take those beak hands, I believe is the name for when we bring all of the fingers together on a point. You might make those beak hands again and place the hands just in front of the shoulders, above the armpits as you roll. You might try in different positions and see what feels good to you. And as we do this, let it be a sort of evaluation, just noticing how the body's feeling in this place, bringing our attention into the shoulders and letting it be a moment of observation. We can let that go, bringing hands down, and let's go ahead and shake out the hands, fingers, wrists, arms, if you want to get all into it. Let the breath be a little more charged and energized. Open up, exhales. Maybe wiggle the torso a little bit in here so you can get all the way down into the hips, still moving through the fingers. Maybe move the neck, the eyes, the mouth, opening the jaw wide. You might take circles with the torso. Allow yourself to move however this naturally evolves for yourself, just getting all the movement we can, Shaking things loose, waking up. We'll bring both hands up overhead with an inhale, eyes gazing skyward. With our exhale, we're going to bring the fingertips down to the crown of our head and lightly touch the hands down the face, all the way down the body, down the neck, down the chest, hips, legs, bringing the hands all the way to the feet, and give some squeezes of the toes, the feet, the ankles, and then keep on squeezing up the calves, knees, thighs, sides, belly, back, all the way up the torso, all sides, letting our body know we're here for it, coming up to the shoulders, the arms, waking ourselves up, hands, fingers, everything gets a squeeze. We're becoming present, embodying ourselves fully. Let's go back up the arms, back to the shoulders, squeeze up the neck and the face, just gentle pressure, back of the head. You might even just use fingers as you offer this pressure all the way up to the crown of the head. And we're going to inhale, raise the arms, the eyes. And then exhale, another one, hands coming down, light, gentle rain, touching the crown of the head and then down the sides, letting it be soothing down the chest, down the legs, to the feet, to the soles, to the toes. And then this time we're going to pat ourselves back up, patting the feet, patting the legs up through the calves and shins, getting all around the sides, the knees, the thighs. Coming to the hips, going around the belly and back, the sides, chest. Go ahead and let out some sounds if you like as you get the chest. Waking up the vocal cords, patting the arms, hands, fingers, both sides, taking turns. Coming up to the neck and the head, just gentle. And inhale, arms up high, gaze skyward. And then exhale, let it go. Arms coming back behind the body, gaze forward out in front of you. You might bring fingers to interlace back behind the back, or just reaching back behind you, however far back they want to go. Allow the chest to open, the throat to open, gaze slightly upward. You can keep breathing here. Full breath in. And then exhale, release the hands around the spine. We're going to give ourselves a great big hug here. Arms coming to opposite shoulders. As we round, gazing down towards the earth. And breathe here for a little bit. Letting the head hang heavy. And inhale, we're going to open up again. You might bring hands all the way back behind the body. You might just bring them out to the side. Gaze skyward again a little bit. And keep breathing here. You might come back to that flower imagery we looked at before, imagining yourself as a flower opening up to the sky. And then exhale, we're going to round back in, closing up for the night, closing up for winter, closing to rest, to protect. And then another inhale, open, last one. And exhale, round. Inhale, back to a neutral seated position. And then roll it out, anything that feels a little worked. Maybe the shoulders need to let that go. Now let's come onto our hands and knees here. If knees would like any extra support under them, always putting a blanket or pillow under the knees can be a good option, as we'll be coming on and off our knees for a little bit here. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, taking some cat-cows as we inhale, dropping the belly, gaze is forward, throat is open. And then we'll exhale, round the belly, gaze comes back in towards the belly. Inhaling, dropping the belly. Exhaling, rounding. Slight bend in the elbows, keep the arms from locking. And inhale forward. And exhale, round. And maybe as we do this, we start getting a little more loose and fluid in our motion. Inhale forward. Go ahead and follow your breath at your pace. You don't need to match me. Maybe taking some circles with your cat-cows side to side. Getting into all of our corners and edges. As if we're going into an attic with a nice soft little candlelight, seeing what's to be uncovered there. So having that same level of gentle, curious exploration, maybe a little timid, with our bodies as we move and as we stretch, as we feel ourselves in places we forgot to feel or haven't been paying attention to. It's like discovering little treasures in the attic, the little corners we've not been getting into, with just a nice gentle candlelight and that idea of exploration. If you've been circling one direction, go ahead and circle the other direction. If you're doing your own thing, keep doing that. Following the lead of your body, your attic, what it asks you to explore. Following your body's invitations. Let's take this posture all the way out to the left side. So curving our body as if we're a crescent moon. Taking our left side body way out to the side. And then just breathing here in this shape and allowing yourself all the subtle movements you want to as you just explore this side body from the shoulders to the hips, and even from the fingers to the toes. And then let's inhale back to the middle and exhale, curve over to the right. And get into our right side body a little bit here. Maybe we press our hip back a little farther and see where we get into when we press the hip a little farther back or closer to the knees. Or what happens if we slide our weight a little farther forward. If we're in the cow dip or the cat curve here on the side, what changes for us. And then come back to your neutral position. And let's take a cat-cow here, just right in the middle. Inhaling to center. And then we're gonna bump each knee back a couple inches, tuck our toes, bend the elbows. Inhale, fold. Exhale, we're gonna send the hips up and back for downward dog. Go ahead and give yourself all the time you need to arrive here, adjusting the stride. Maybe you feel a little short and you want to walk the feet back, give yourself a little more space. Maybe you're super long and you want to shorten the stride. As you arrive or continue arriving, go ahead and pedal the legs, bending one knee and straightening the other, inviting one heel to the ground at a time while the other heel lifts. And then as we do that, we're still sending the hips back in space. So you might even just be really slow through this as one heel is down on the ground, then send the hips backwards. How far back can those hips go? You can bend the fingers a little bit. Give yourself good stability through the hands, resting off through them. And then we switch our sides. Kneading into our calves. And let's shift our weight forward so the shoulders are over the wrists and we're up on the toes for both feet. Slight bend in the elbows here. Breathing, belly drawn up, engaging our strong core. You might imagine there's a little fire burning there in your core. This place of energy, giving you the power to be here. Imagining that's growing, using your breath to stoke the fire. Building that energy and strength. Bringing knees down to the earth and untucking toes whenever you're ready. Continue that engagement and breathing. With our next exhale, let's lower down to the earth with the chest. Releasing all the way, letting the pressure go in the hands. Inhaling, we're lifting the chest up off the ground. Shoulder blades, drawing them up and back down. Hands can be light on the floor. Maybe you don't even have them. Pressing up, hover them. Draw the shoulder blades back in together. You might notice our belly and our breath again here. Pressure of the earth. Our own personal light and guidance. When everything else around us might seem dark, there's that gut feeling that can lead you. Your own inner light, your own inner wisdom and knowing. Connecting with that light there in your belly. One more inhale. And then tuck the toes. Exhale, hips up and back. Back to that downward dog, pedaling out. Then let's go ahead and plant the left foot. Inhale the right up and back. Sending that foot as far back as you can. Maybe imagine you could touch the wall behind you, whatever might be behind you with your toes. Bend the knee, opening the hip. Your gaze might follow out that same direction. All the while, can you send the hips back another 1/8 of an inch? Taking our gaze back between the hands and then out in front of them, maybe a foot or so. We're going to send our foot back as far as we can again. Inhale, fold. And then exhale, step that foot as far forward as you can make it. Breathe here for a moment. And then we're going to bring the back foot up to match however many steps it takes to get there. And then just hang heavy here. Allowing yourself to release. You plant yourself firmly through both feet. Down through the ankles. Send your weight back with your hips. Reaching hands out a little farther away from the feet in front of us. Maybe they're on the floor, blocks, maybe they're just reaching up in the sky. Two directions at once now. Hips back, arms, fingers forward. Big old stretch. You can keep a little bend in the knees there, however much of a bend in the knees you need. Just noticing how it changes the stretch, how we change our bend in our knees, just moving it around. And then release all that work, just fold over, allowing yourself to be like a little waterfall, just letting go, succumbing to gravity. Take a big old bend with the knees, and we're gonna inhale, rise, bring our arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, that gentle rain again. Draw the hands down to the crown of the head, down the face, down the torso, hips. We're gonna go all the way down to our feet with this gentle touching. Deep bend in the knees and pat ourselves up, waking up the body. Hello, body. All the way up to the head, and then hands up to the sky. Big inhale. And then exhale, release the arms down to the sides. Still standing upright. Stand. Remain here. Just breathing. allowing the body to have this moment to transition to a new orientation and plane. Slight bend in the knees, sending the weight in the hips a little farther back. Can we center our weight over the ankles? You can play with tail tucks, sending imagine you had a tail like a puppy dog. If you were to send that way far back, getting a little round in the spine here. And then if you were to bring the pelvis back forward, so if you were to try to tuck that tail out under your legs, moving between those motions with the hips. And however far your extremes are, you might take a little wider stance, hips or feet a little wider than hips with distance. And then find what feels center for you, what feels solid in between those two extremes. Again, we've got our knees a little bent, the weight is centering over our ankles. And then where's that place of centeredness with our hips here? And draw the shoulder blades back a little bit. Full breath in, arms coming up to the sky. And then exhale the hands down to heart center. We're going to come to the top of our space, top of our mat, if we're on a mat. One more full breath here with the hands at heart center, inhaling full. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale the right leg, step it back long. Exhale the left to match. Breathing here. Engaging the core, slight bend in the elbows. And then we're going to lower the knees and tuck our toes. And exhale, lower the chest all the way down to the earth. Inhale, the chest lifts. We're going to keep breathing here. Coming back to that belly focal point. Full breath in. Tuck the toes. Exhale, hips up and back for downward dog. Breathe here. Pedal it out. And now we're going to plant the right foot this time, bending the left knee, and then inhale, sending that foot up and back as if those toes wanted to touch the wall behind you. How big and long and deep of a stretch can we get through that right leg here? Rooting down through the hands. And then we might bend the knee, opening up the hip a little bit out to the side. Maybe our gaze stays centered between the hands, or maybe the gaze follows. We get a little bit more of a stretch through the side, a little bit more of a twist. Can you send the hips back another 1/4 inch? And then recentering with our gaze back between the hands. And then send the foot back long again, straightening the leg. Inhale, fold. Exhale, step that foot as far forward as it can go. And then bring the back foot up to match. Hang long here. Breathe here. Deep bend in the knees, and then inhale, halfway lift. Hands might come up towards the shins. Chest, imagining it's parallel with the floor, aiming for somewhere around there. Still sending our hips back in space. Still having a slight bend in our knees. Inhale, fold. Exhale, fold. As much of a bend in the knees as we like here. And then a deep bend, and we're going to inhale, rise, arms up. And exhale, hands down through heart center. Full breath here. Coming back to the top of our space if we're not there yet. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. On the right leg, we're going to step it back behind us and find our warrior pose and positioning. So our heels are in line with each other. That back foot is pivoted out about 45 degrees. And then we're going to sink the hips, inviting that front knee to bend. You can find a little buoyancy here. Allow the shoulders to soften. Can they just naturally soften and drape down the back body without straining or putting too much effort to draw the shoulder blades back? What if we just invited them to let go? And then we're going to face forward towards that front knee. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then exhale, the arms down towards the back body, and the chest can open forward, maybe dropping down towards that front knee. As we're here, let's bring our attention down to our feet. This place of balance for us here. One foot at a time. Can we find our stability there? Can we find all those points of contact with the floor? And then inhale, rise, reversing that motion, arms coming back up overhead. And then exhale, we're going to bring the hands down parallel with the floor and turn to open up, turning to the right. Re-centering, bending a little bit deeper into that front knee. And then we'll take our gaze back towards our front hand, open the palm, inhale, stretch a little bit farther forward, and then exhale, take it all back, keeping the legs in the same place, just moving with our torso, our upper body. Peaceful warrior or gentle warrior is the name of this pose. Finding our gentleness in the center of our strength. This posture, a bit of surrender, humility, but also your own worthiness and rootedness. We're going to inhale back up through center, arms parallel with the floor. And then exhale, take the front arm down towards the front leg, the back arm can lift up. You might keep that arm lifted up towards the sky, or you might continue it in that circular motion, bringing it down in front of the face, and then back towards the hip, hand coming to rest at the hip, making a big circle there with the shoulder. And then we're going to inhale back to arms parallel with the floor. And then exhale, release the arms down to the earth, turn to face the front leg again. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bring the back foot forward an inch or a few inches, and just on the toes of that back foot, finding more weight going to this front leg, bringing ourselves to a point of a little more balance. And then inviting you, if you want to play with balance here, we come just onto that front leg. Maybe we just hover that back foot an inch or a few inches. Arms wherever they want to be, not worrying about them, just playing with our balance. And then if coming up onto one leg is no sweat and you want to take it further, can we bring the chest to parallel with the floor? Or what happens if you continue that tipping allowing the back leg to be kind of like this seesaw action. So as the back leg comes up, the chest goes down. As the chest comes up, the back leg goes down. And then let's bring that back foot back down, back to our warrior. Inhale, both arms rise. And then exhale, we're coming back up to that standing pose. Arms come down, back leg lifts. And then moving from here into a tree. So breathing here, and then we're going to inhale, draw that back leg in towards the front leg. Maybe the toes land on the ground by the ankle. Maybe they come to calf or thigh. Upper body lifts. Again, that gentle, sweet, gentle dropping of the shoulder blades down the back body. Toes of that standing foot are clenched. Unclench them. Add a little softness. One more inhale here. And then exhale, let's bring that lifted foot down to the earth. Allow yourself to stand and notice what you notice. And then shake it out if you'd like. You might just shake out that leg that was standing. Maybe you shake out the whole body. It's not gonna hurt, or, well, I don't know what's gonna happen to your body, but move it in a way that feels good and releasing. No need to be stuck in the same shape or patterns, movements. And then coming back to our stillness, our center, and the top of our space, so we've got room behind us. Noticing what we notice, how it is to come from all that movement into our quiet stillness again. Our rest place here in our bodies. Inhale, arms up to the sky, gazes skyward. Whatever's up there, the sun, stars, infinite blackness, bright blue. And then exhale, fold forward. Hanging heavy here. Deep bend in the knees. Bring hands down to the mat, deep bend. Inhale, send the left leg back along. Pausing here, breathing here. Maybe allowing the hips to drop a little bit. And then lifting our hips as much as they can. With your exhale, we're going to send that front foot back to meet together. Coming to our downward dog. Sending hips back in space as much as we can. And then shift your weight forward so shoulders are over wrists. Adjusting the length of your stride if necessary. Engaging the core, drawing the belly button up towards the spine. And soften our elbows, a slight bend there. Feel a few breaths to build up that fire in the belly. Feeling free to drop the knees if at any point your body really wants that. Exhale, knees to the earth and tuck the toes. Inhale, fold. And slowly lower the chest down to the earth. As you get there, releasing all the work and effort in the arms. Inhale, lift the chest. Shoulder blades back. Open through our heart. Open to whatever little bits of light or comforting darkness it wants to welcome. We're going to bring our awareness back into our hands, noticing that touch point with the earth and preparing for our shift back to downward dog. We're going to tuck our toes, pressing hands into the floor. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. Remaining here, pedal it out. See if you can invite both heels down to the ground and just what happens when you explore that invitation. Hips back in space as much as they can go. And then however you want to get there, walk, step, or jump, we're going to bring both feet up to meet the hands. Coming back to a forward fold here. And as we hang here, keep sending those hips back in space. See if you can keep the hips in line as they are right now. So hip points facing the same direction as the feet, but then walk the hands out around to the left. So as we do that, the legs are going to be pretty active and countering that twist or going in the opposite direction. So our hands walking over to the left and the hip tacking back to the right. Notice what you notice. Listen to whatever invitations your body is asking for or inviting. Come back through center. Breathe here, bending the knees. And then opposite direction, hands go out to the right. Left hip stays tacking back. What if you could put all of your attention into the outer edge of the left foot? Can you ground it down? Root yourself. Come back through center, relax, bend the knees, be heavy here. And then inhale, rise, arms up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Full breath here, relaxing breath. Release the hands, shake out the body, shake out the legs. As we do, moving to the top of our space. We're going to plant, this time planting our right foot and then sending the left foot back behind us to find our warrior legs. Heels in line with one another, the back foot pivoted out about 45 degrees. And then bending the front knee, lowering the hips down towards the earth, and adjusting your stride as you wish to explore, or if you know your sweet spot, just trying to get there. Inviting the shoulders to have a gentle drop. You might even shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, and then just let them go. Repeat as necessary. And then we're going to inhale both arms up high to the sky. Exhale, swing them back behind the body, opening the chest and letting it come down towards the front thigh, towards that front leg. Doesn't need to go all the way to the leg, but just bending a little bit at the hips, opening up this direction. Taking our awareness through our feet, untucking toes, pressing down. You might imagine there was a diagonal line going from the inner heel towards the pinky toe. And imagine a spreading in that direction as if you could grow longer across that diagonal. And that can help with planting and rooting down, finding our stability. This great rootedness so we can fly. We're going to come back up, inhaling, arms up, chest back towards center. And then exhale, opening out to the side, arms parallel-ish with the floor, letting them float. You might even bounce them up and down a little bit. Imagine maybe you were in the water and you could find the top of the water with the arms and they can rest there on that surface tension. You can imagine that support here in the air, helping hold up the arms. Now we're going to take our gaze towards that front hand. Inhale, reach a little farther forward and open the palm to the sky. Exhale, tip it all back, keeping the legs as they are, just moving through the torso, the upper body. And as you stretch through your side in this peaceful warrior, you might do that two-directional stretching where that front hip stretching down and then coming up. You're gonna open up towards the sky and that space back behind you, reaching back towards the unknown. Inhaling back through center. Exhaling, letting the arms float. Maybe on that surface tension. Maybe there's little strings along your arm as if the arms are puppet arms and those help hold you here. And then inhale, fold. Exhale, front arm down towards the front thigh, back arm lifts towards the sky. Staying rooted through that back leg. Rounding down through the sides of the foot. Front foot also active as it presses into the floor. And in that pressing down, can you rise up a little bit more? Can you open up a little more to the sky? And again, we have those options of keeping that top arm lifted, or you might continue that circle with that arm, bringing the arm down in front of the face and then bringing the hand to rest over on the hip. Breathe in here. Turning back to face the front leg, and then inhale, rise, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms floating out to the side. Turn to face the front leg, allow the hands to drop down. And then preparing for our little floating balance exercise, shifting our weight more into that front foot. We can bring the back foot in a foot, a few inches, changing the weight. And inhale, fold. Exhale, rise, lifting up off that back foot. Maybe just the toes stay down on the floor. That's plenty of work here for me in my front leg. Maybe I want to play with the balance a little more and I want to lift the leg up. Wherever you're at, maybe you want to play with the seesaw, lifting that leg up farther, letting the chest drop down to the ground. Taking a slight bend in that front leg. And just being curious as if you're on the playground here, exploring. Maybe we fall, maybe we tip and totter. Maybe we come back down. Once you're ready, go ahead and come back down. Coming back to those warrior legs. Inhale, arms up, rising. And then exhale, fly forward again onto that front leg. Breathing here. And then moving into our tree. However you want to get there, maybe you want to play with, can I do it from this already doing one balance pose, or maybe we touch the leg down and walk ourselves back up. So with that tree, you might have toes on the ground, heel up the ankle. Maybe that foot comes up the calf, maybe it comes all the way up to the thigh. Just being where you're at. Loving on this standing leg, honoring it for all this huge work it's doing for us right now. Finding our center in the midst of this kind of, what feels like a more unstable place than is our normal. Can we find our center inside of our body? All the way down, rooting into the earth. We come to that alignment, that center. There's a big line coming down from the sky into the crown of the head, through the throat, the chest, the hips, and then right down through that standing leg into the earth, into the core of the earth. You be held by that grounding line. Come back to center. One more breath here. And then come on out as gracefully or comically as you like, or a little bit of both. And first, let's just stand. Notice what we notice now. And then let's shake it out. Legs, hips, spine, arms, head, whatever wants to move, move it. Maybe jump. Charge the breath. And then we'll find our stillness. Next, we're going to find gravity. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, gentle rain, fingertips to the head, down the face, down the body, down the legs, all the way down to the feet. We're going to bring hands all the way down to the earth, bending the knees. Hands can be as far out in front of you as they need to be. And then we're going to come on down to our knees. So stepping one leg back, then the other. Adjusting so we can have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's ground ourselves through our cat-cows. Inhaling, looking forward, dropping the belly. Exhaling, rounding the spine. Move as fluidly and freely as you like through these two postures. Your own practice. Your own rhythm. Something familiar. Move through a lot, at least in my practice. A lot of cat-cows. You might even close your eyes as you practice here, going deep into your body and your inner world, letting go of the external. And we're all center. Engage the core, drawing the belly up towards the spine. And then we're going to take the right knee and pivot that foot out to the side a little bit. Or, yeah, pivot the foot of that leg out to the side. And then the left foot, we're going to send it long, coming up onto the toes. And then if you're just taking this different shape with the legs, you might notice how the weight shifted in your hands, maybe a little more into the right hand. So go with that, moving the weight into the right. And as you do, allow that back foot to fall to the floor. So the heel comes down to the floor. And then keep on moving through that as much as you want, opening up to the side, letting the left hand grow light, maybe coming up off the air, ground into the air. And opening through the side body, however much you want to go here. See if you can relax through the toes. Can you invite a relaxed breath? Maybe an audible exhale. Slight bend in that working arm, that lower arm. One more inhale here. Exhale, we're going to bring the hand back down to the earth. And come back through to have both knees under the hips. Cat-cow in between our sides, dropping the belly with our inhale. Rounding the spine with our exhale. Coming back to neutral. A full breath here. And then we'll set ourselves up. So this time the left foot is going to open out to the side. And then the back or the right leg, we're going to send that foot out long. Shifting our weight over into the left hand. And inhale, open the arm up towards the sky as much as it wants to go. Maybe we just play with the balance of letting go of the weight in that hand, but we only cover it an inch or two at a time. Relax through the toes. Where can we find softness in this shape? It's a shape of trust as we really are working with our back field, what's behind us. moving into that space in a kind of a strange position we don't find ourselves normally in our average day. Letting ourselves just rest here in this maybe more or less novel posture for each of us it might vary. Inhale full. Exhale, come back down. Our hands under shoulders, both knees coming back under the hips, cat cow. And then we'll find our center again, our neutral position. Engage the belly. And now we're going to open up the right hand, lift the right hand up towards the sky. And then with your next exhale, we'll let that go. Bring the hand back down. Inhale the left arm up high. And just notice what your body feels and might be asking for here. Inhale full. Exhale, arm back down. Breath in the center, engaging that core. Inhale the right arm up. And as you do, maybe that right knee follows suit. That right knee might lift up and that right foot can pivot down so the sole of the foot plants. Inhale full. Exhale, come on back down with the hand, with the knee. Cat cow between sides. Back to our center. Find that strong core. Inhale, lift the left arm. The left knee follows suit up to the sky, opening up the hips. Left foot plants on the earth. Can you stretch from the hip through the armpit? My cat is copying me on the other side of this window. More or less her version. She's rolling on the floor. Inhale, full. And exhale, we're going to bring the hand and knee back to the earth. Let's do a cat cow in honor of Alice, rolling around on the floor. Inhale back to our center. And then send the right foot back long. Go ahead and invite that heel down towards the earth, shifting your weight backwards in space. And then bring that knee back forward, back to our starting position. And then we'll send the left foot back in space, stretching that leg out long. And then shifting our weight backwards, inviting that heel down towards the earth. Coming back forward, both knees on the ground. Let's take both knees wide, wider than the hips. Feet might come to touch each other in the center, just come in a little bit more. And then we're going to send our hips back in space. You're welcome to stay elevated like this with the chest up towards the sky and just moving through the hips like that. Or maybe you want to release the chest down towards the earth. Maybe you want to just explore that in graduations. You can walk the hands forward, slide them forward. So you invite the chest down towards the earth. And as we take this posture of surrender, you might consider what you could surrender to, what you would like to surrender to. Or maybe the sensations are plenty for our mind to focus on. And we can simply surrender to that. We're going to come back up. Inhaling, shifting the weight forward. Drawing the knees back underneath the hips. Tuck the toes. Exhale, hips up and back. That downward dog. One last check in with this shape. Maybe inviting both heels down towards the earth and see how that goes, how that feels now as compared to earlier in our practice today. And then shifting our weight forward so the shoulders are over wrists. Engage that core, drawing it up. Gratitude for our inner fire, our vitality and energy, our inner knowing, our ancient wisdom. Lowering the knees to the floor, untuck your toes, and exhale the chest all the way to the earth. Inhale, lift the chest as high up as it wants to go. You might stay here with the hands under the shoulders, or you might draw the hands out in front of the body a little bit, moving that back bend farther down the spine, more towards the hips. You move into this, you can track the arms as if you were to engaging the arms, and as if you were to try to draw the arms back in towards the body. They're not really going to move. But with that isometric action, we can get a little more work in this bend. And then release all the effort. Release the chest down to the earth. Go ahead and release the head all the way to the earth. And arms down alongside. So you might take just a cheek down to the earth, or if you wish to make a pillow for the head, you can bring hands out in front and rest the forehead on the hands. Inviting a darkness and a surrender into the rest of this moment. See if you can simply be present with your breath. And then as you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto your back. For our final resting pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. Getting comfortable, utilizing whatever props and support we wish for this rest. Inviting the death of the last moment and the birth of this new one. This transition to rest, our own little mini hibernation for the day. Inviting the darkness, closing our eyes. Notice the whole of your back body, what's connecting down with the earth, what is supported still, touching air. Surrender, whatever can be surrendered, letting go. And to help us with that, we might squeeze our whole body as if we could squeeze all the muscles from toes, legs, butt, back, arms, face, squeezing it all tight, and then letting go. Another big squeeze of the whole body. Inhaling. And then let it go. All of that release, all of that exhale. Continue releasing, continue exhaling. Softening the breath. Letting it all go. Melt down into the floor. Surrendering into your breath and rest. I wake earlier now that the birds have come and sing in the unfailing trees. On a cot by an open window, I lie like land used up while spring unfolds. Now of all voyagers I remember, who among them did not board ship with grief among their maps, till it seemed men never go somewhere, they only leave wherever they are, when the dying begins. For myself, I find my wanting life implores no novelty and no disguise of distance. Where, in what country might I put down these thoughts, who still am citizen of this fallen city? On a cot by an open window, I lie and remember, while the birds in the trees sing of the circle of time. Let the dying go on, and let me, if I can, inherit from disaster before I move. Oh, I go to see the great ships ride from harbor, and my wounds leap with impatience. Yet I turn back to sort the weeping ruins of my house. Here or nowhere, I will make peace with the fact. Coming back to your breath. Coming back into the body, inviting movement and stretching, gentle waking. Finding yourself in your own night or morning or midday or dusk. Whatever is your moment, your fact. Rolling over onto one side. And when you're ready, coming up into a comfortable seat. Taking care, tender with yourself as you move and transition, or just remaining on the ground as long as you need. We'll close with our closing peace song. The words are Om Shanti 3 times, which is peace in Sanskrit. Om, and then peace 3 times in English. Bring our hands to heart center, palms together. Take a breath in full. Letting it go. With our attention in our heart space, let's breathe in for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you for joining me with this practice today. With all of yourself, the fullness of your world as it is, and all that has been that has brought you here, and all of the mystery as we look forward. Wishing you peace in the solstice day, in your winter times, and in your journey into light and longer days. Namaste. And our closing poem today is titled No Voyage, and it is by Mary Oliver. Thank you all.